It was in 1984 that RM Engineering was launched into the field of computer services for health professionals and especially physiotherapists. It had taken many years of meetings and discussions with general practitioners day after day. The need to evaluate the professional practices itself gave rise to a new concept. It resulted in the creation of a tool that could evaluate the ability of a patient to carry out normal everyday movements. This simple idea had been reinforced by Dr. Cornu, a specialist in his field. It was the enthusiasm required to get us started. Biorescue was born.
Biorescue is an innovative product that was born out of a merger between IT knowledge to optimize biofeedback techniques with the technique of using a baropodometric platform to allow the analysis of pressure points, and a concept that consists of observing the functional habits of people that we call sequential posturography. Biorescue is built around a platform that has 1600 pressure points, making it possible to analyze the pressure exerted on each of these points at a frequency of 40 Hz. This information is collected and summarized by a computer. Several parameters are placed in memory, such as the various pressures beneath the support, the displacement of the center of pressure, as well as the time spent. Biorescue can be used for assessment and exercises and offers a bridge between the two. This product is easy to use. For the rehabilitator, as only limited space is required and the time needed for exercises is similar to that of normal exercises. For the patients, as it offers solutions that should enable them to deal with most situations they are likely to come across. And for anyone who needs information by producing parameters or images that can be easily understood and interpreted. After having created a file to identify the patient, the practitioner should then choose one or more corresponding analysis from the pathology files. One of Biorescue's fundamental analysis is the foot pressure. The patient stands straight with his arms alongside his body in a natural stance, also called the Romberg position. The measured imprint makes it possible to observe and analyze the manner in which the patient supports himself. The analysis of his movements are described in the software using exact protocols. All that is required is to follow the instructions on the screen.
Sit down. Lift up.
Here we analyze a 90-degree turn. We have asked the patient to step off the platform whilst making a 90-degree turn to the left, and then to the right.
The displacement of the pressure centre of a non-pathological patient has a very precise signature that resembles the letter L. Lifting up a foot creates this signature. The pressure centre is positioned under the foot that is still on the platform, but moves upwards when the patient puts more and more support on the point of the other foot before stepping completely off the platform. Go.
With this person who sways slightly because of the early stage of a neurodegenerative infection, the asymmetry between the two traces is clearly visible. However, we assess more than this asymmetry between the traces. We also assess the difference between the speed of the exercises as well as the speed of the displacement of the pressure center between the 2 feet. This already indicates that carrying out a natural movement causes problems.
43-year-old Ghislaine fell from a 25-metre pylon. He suffered fractures on the right side of the cotyle, of the sacroiliac, of the transverse of the D12 and the L2, a bilateral pneumothorax, an abdominal trauma and a severe cranial trauma with a score of 3 on the Glasgow scale. At his arrival he could only keep himself upright with the aid of a walking frame. Thanks to Biorescue, the limits of his stability improved threefold after only 1 month. 2 months later he could stand up without using his walking frame, and a few days later he could shave in front of a mirror.
Assessing the patient's ability to move in all directions is possible using another analysis, the limits of stability. This is achieved by asking the patient to move his center of pressure as far as possible in the direction shown on the screen.
This test is practically part of all the assessments in our studies, as it will help to determine if important progress has been made during the exercises and the level of difficulty of the exercises that are used by Biorescue. It also indicates the problem such patients have with an old sprain, amongst others a problem with leaning as far as possible to the right, and, despite his youth, pain has already been registered as one, that is to say, a test that is not as easy as it seems.
During a period of 4 years, I've treated and assessed 1,000 patients. I've used Biorescue to deal with 3 types of pathologies: instabilities, vestibular deficiency, and older people less stable on their feet. This technique is very different from the traditional static system, and it allows you to generate a functional assessment that can be discussed with the prescribing doctor.
As you can see, we can go even further with Biorescue. Eric, specialist in balance problems, also uses it to treat severe neurological pathology cases.
49-year-old Jean-Claude suffered a ruptured aneurysm in 2004. He attended my practice to improve his walking, as he felt that it was not as good as it should be.
I am satisfied that using this method has allowed me to walk naturally, and I can now walk along the curb without losing my balance or falling over, which I couldn't do before the treatment.
The exercises for transfer of support and stabilization are automatically adapted to the progress of the patient, allowing me to abandon all walking aids in a very short time.
In all the batteries of tests proposed by Biorescue, there's the principle that the progression in the level of difficulty of the test is put forward to the patient. Thus, a person who has this deficiency, this difficulty, this pain with the support, has limited balance. When he passes into the last phase, i.e. the monopodal posture, one can clearly see that he favors the left, as the pain in the right foot means standing on it is totally impossible, thus confirming the inadequacy of this stance in daily life. What is interesting about this system is that it enables you to reduce the number of sessions considerably. We've worked with Biorescue with an 82-year-old patient whose knee was operated on and who had received a complete prosthesis. It took only 10 sessions and the results were spectacular.
For example, I could no longer climb on a stool or properly replace a light bulb, whereas now my stability has really improved.
In just 10 sessions, his balance is 15 times better. He used to walk with the stick, but now he hardly ever uses it. Stepping over an obstacle or making a half turn are no longer a problem.
The exercises proposed by Biorescue are simple and fun. They offer the ideal conditions for the most efficient physiotherapy. Working in the reflex style, unconsciously they act at a deep level on the central nervous and the cortical system. Their soft action on the muscle chains leads to a complete reconstruction of the muscle structure and articulation of the patient. The exercises proceed using the feedback from the platform, which echo to the patient a mirror image of his movements and his mistakes. The skiing exercise permits the parties to work on transferring the patient's support laterally and anteposteriorly. The patient must at the same time work at controlling and maintaining his posture and anticipating his forthcoming actions. Thanks to these exercises, the patient can regain control of his support. It is necessary to work weak muscles and articulation to gain muscle balance and improve posture control.
Well, we've made a tour of several possibilities of Biorescue, but remember, there are still many possibilities remaining for simple traditional physiotherapy treatment. Come and see. Hello, Guy. What benefits do you get out of using Biorescue every day?
Everyday use of Biorescue is to analyze and validate sessions after osteopathy.
Postural analysis?
The posture, but it's also valuable for the posture of a grandmother who had a hip replacement and now has a problem with her pelvis. You can compare before and after. Also the skier who ends up with a metastasis pain as a result of wearing shoes that were too tight. Following the adapted manipulation to the foot, you get an immediate response.
Okay, but here you're talking to me about sports pathology.
Oh, not specifically. It can be used as a test but also as an assessment, preventative but also for recovery, which allows the coaches to be much more efficient and allows us to validate our session always with their support.
Biorescue can be adapted to many treatments. It is also a physiotherapy tool. Finally, it is an excellent tool for communication with the patient, which can show an improvement in the deficiency and progress. This takes place throughout the physiotherapy. It is very easy to produce an analysis report for the person who prescribes the treatment. Biorescue, with the quality of the analysis it produces, can be put to good use and will allow your patient to be more involved in their physiotherapy, giving real benefits. Thus, Biorescue will become an indispensable tool in your practice.